want to bring in our guest for this hour. Joining us to discuss is criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor David Bruno. David, great to see you as always. Thank you so much for joining me on the program. And here we are coming to the end of the prosecution's case. I'd like to see them end with a little bit more of a bang, but that's not what I'm asking you right now. What I want to know is where you think their case stands, and I want to specifically focus in on Ihsan, the father. Where do you think it stands in terms of getting that attempted second-degree murder conviction?
Certainly a lot better than the mother. I mean, the mother has a lot of different defenses in the sense that for her to be convicted of the attempt, she had to share in the attempt to kill, meaning that was the goal-directed behavior. For the dad, on the other hand, that video is very damaging, and especially some of the eyewitness evidence of her color, lack thereof, the effects that the chokehold was having on her. Because attempted murder is a very difficult charge to prove by prosecutors, because you have to prove that he was intending to kill. And for that to happen, he's got to, actually have that goal objective there. And he didn't commit the murder. It was stopped. So the prosecutor's got to rely on the eyewitness testimony, the medical testimony, and try to make the argument circumstantially that you could infer from his actions, the chokehold, and what he did do before being stopped, that is evidence of attempt to murder.
David, let me throw this out to you. As I've watched this case unfold, a lot of people have said, well, look, he probably will get convicted on the assault, but not necessarily the second-degree attempted murder. And I look at it this way. When you look at the definition of first-degree assault, you have to have an intent to inflict great bodily harm. Well, if you think that they can get to his intent to do that at this point, it's not such a big leap for the jury to say, well, if he was trying to inflict great bodily harm, why is it so difficult to believe that he was, in fact, trying to murder her?
Right. You're splitting hairs, absolutely, between those two counts. But what the jury may do, if there's a split or there's deliberations and maybe some of them are on the attempted murder, but not all of them, they may compromise. And as lawyers, we are there to split hairs on the definitions between that level of injury versus death. But with that being said, it lends itself for the perfect compromise for that jury to go down off the attempted murder if they're having problems there.
Yeah, fair enough. And just interestingly, the first-degree assault does have an up to life in prison possible sentence. So just as serious in many, many ways. All right, David, stand by.